Okay, hi everyone. This is Jackie. Last night on our English table, on our online English table, we had a really good question about gerunds. So I wanted to spend a little tiny bit of time today making a really basic PowerPoint that I hope will be somewhat helpful to help you understand what a gerund is, what it looks like, how it's used in a really basic way. Okay, so let's just get started. So first, what does a gerund look like? So an example, a really typical example would be a sentence like this. I like reading. So this word reading right here is considered a gerund. So let's see why. So in order to understand what a gerund is and how it's used, we need to kind of understand the difference between the form of a word and the function of a word. So the form is what something looks like. So in this picture right here, we see a coffee cup. So this looks like a coffee cup or a teacup, whatever. So for me, when I see this, I think this is something that I would drink coffee out of. However, it's not necessarily something I drink coffee out of. It just looks like something I might drink coffee out of. So this is the form. It looks like a cup. But that's different than function. Function is all about how something is used. So whenever I see this picture, we have a very similar looking object. Its function is not to hold coffee. Its function, how it's being used, is like a flower vase. So it's functioning as a vase, as something that's holding flowers. So we can see that this object, which is basically the exact same object, the same form, the function is different. Okay, so how it's used is different. So that will help us hopefully understand a little bit more about gerunds. So a gerund is something that looks like a verb. So a verb is like, usually we think of a verb as an action, right? So it's like movement in some way. In a typical way. So a verb like reading, okay? The way a gerund, I'm getting out of my place. So the way a gerund works is that it looks like a verb, okay? So the form, think of the coffee cup, right? It looks like a coffee cup. This word looks like a verb, okay? So it looks like a verb, which is an action. So an example of like a real verb of this word reading as action is something like I am reading in the present progressive. At this exact moment, I'm reading the word right here, okay? Now, the function, so how it's used, think of that object that is actually something that holds flowers. The function is how something is acting or how something is being used. So a gerund acts or is used like a noun. And so a noun is a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. Okay, so a noun that's similar is books. It is a tangible object, okay, like these behind me. Okay, so a noun like books, an example of a real noun is something like I like books. Okay, so a gerund is something that looks as the form of a verb, looks like a verb, but it acts, it functions as a noun. Learning the distinction between form and function will really, really help you with learning English, and it will help you to really understand some more of the complexities in English grammar. Okay, so something that looks like a verb but acts like a noun. So let's just look at an example of a noun. So books, we know that this is a thing, a book, okay? I like books. It's something I enjoy, okay? Now, we can take that same sentence and replace the noun. Let's just X it out, and we'll replace it with a word that looks like a verb. Reading. And a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. So I'm considering reading, and this thing is like the idea of reading, like the concept of reading. Okay? Maybe I can't touch it, but it is an idea. It's a concept in my head, reading. It's not an action. Okay? In this context, I'm thinking, it's like almost the thought of reading. Like I love reading. I'm thinking about it. Okay? So I could say, I like reading. I like walking. I like running. But I could also say, I like Paris. I like Madrid. Okay? I can replace it with a noun because it's functioning as a noun. It's functioning as, in this context, it's functioning as an object in the sentence. Okay? So I hope that this was helpful. I know it was so short, but I tried to keep it in a way that would be really basic to where you can understand the meaning of what things are. I much prefer understand the meaning of something and take a little bit longer to understand the meaning than to just have you memorize a bunch of stuff, okay? I will post some places that I think are helpful that for maybe looking at some information on your own. But just remember, it's something that looks like a verb. You see that ing, it looks like a present progressive verb, but it's acting like a noun. I could take it out and replace it with dogs. I like dogs. I like cats. I like books. But instead, I'm using the concept of reading, the concept. I like walking, okay? You can also even move it around, okay? And so that's a little bit more complex. We're still just thinking about the meaning of it, but you could even say, use it as the subject instead of the object. I could say, reading is something I like, okay? Reading is good. Reading is fun. I could replace reading with a noun. Books are fun. English is fun, maybe, okay? So it's something that I could replace interchangeably with a noun. Why? Because it's acting as a noun. It is functioning in the same way that nouns function, okay? Awesome. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope it was clear. If you have questions, just let me know and I'll try to help you out with them. So keep going, keep working hard. Bye.